Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Once again, scandal surrounds President Biden's son, Hunter, thanks to 9 new charges from the special counsel. If convicted, the younger Biden could face nearly 2 decades in prison. I'm Ellison Barber in for Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. Let's begin tonight with the new federal charges facing the president's son, Hunter Biden. Late last night, special counsel David Weiss indicted him on 9 tax-related charges, including 3 felonies. In a 56-page indictment, the special counsel alleged that the younger Biden failed to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes, despite enjoying a lavish lifestyle that included drugs, escorts, luxury hotels, and exotic cars. Biden faces up to 17 years in prison, but in a rare interview released today that was recorded with the musician Moby before the new indictments were filed, Hunter Biden suggested that Republicans are trying to, quote, kill him, and this whole campaign is an attempt to get him to relapse while also tearing down his father's presidency.
They're trying to destroy a presidency, and so it's not about me. In their most base way, what they're trying to do is they're trying to kill me, knowing that it will be a pain greater than my father could be able to handle. And so therefore, destroying a presidency in that way.
Joining us now is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles. Ryan, this indictment is 56 pages. There is a lot in here. What are the key parts?
Well, Ellison, the most important part of this indictment is the accusations that the special counsel David Weiss is making against Hunter Biden, and principally that he believes that he knowingly avoided paying his taxes when he was in a position where he absolutely could have. And the way he paints that picture is by detailing the hundreds of thousands of dollars he spent on everything but his taxes, things like escorts, adult websites, more than $1 million of ATM withdrawals, and a number of other examples. Weiss makes the argument that Hunter Biden, even though at one point was in the throes of addiction, had every ability to pay his taxes and didn't. And he tried to explain to the federal government that he didn't even need to pay taxes on some of the things that were a part of his tax return. So they're basically alleging that Hunter Biden is guilty of fraud, and as a result have hit him with 3 felonies that could put him in jail for as much as 17 years, Ellison.
You know, Ryan, when it comes to the president's son, it can be a little hard to keep up with the quote-unquote Hunter Biden saga, right? From the collapsed plea deal to the gun charge to Republican inquiries on Capitol Hill to these tax charges. How do the pieces of all of this fit together?
Yeah, it's so important, Ellison, because, you know, many of President Biden's detractors want to kind of put everything into the same bucket and just make it look as salacious as possible as a way to hurt President Biden. And you really do need to separate Hunter Biden's activities with the impeachment inquiry, which House Republicans have launched and are currently in the throes of. And what's important to really make note of in this indictment today is that there is not a single mention of the president. They don't even allude to the president. And what House Republicans have contended is that Hunter Biden's potential misdeeds track back to President Biden and that he financially benefited from his business activities, particularly the business activities that he conducted overseas. Now, that being said, Republicans are now going to use what they learned in this indictment as a way to convince their other fellow Republicans that the impeachment inquiry needs to move forward just to make sure that President Biden wasn't involved in it. And that's why I think we'll see a formal vote on the impeachment inquiry sometime next week.
Ryan, how do you think this plays out for the president, since you are mentioning and laying out how there are clearly political aspects to this? Is this something that could impact President Biden down the road on the campaign trail?
It's absolutely going to impact him, especially because perhaps one of the strongest arguments he has against his likely opponent, Donald Trump, is that Donald Trump is caught up in all of these legal issues. And if Donald Trump is on trial, the optics of the president's son also being on trial in that same realm of possibility is something that will, to a certain extent, mute the accusations and the legal troubles that Donald Trump is facing. Now, in reality, unless Republicans can come up with some sort of hard evidence against the president himself, there's really no reason to assume that he is guilty of anything. But that's not necessarily the way politics works. And at a time where the president needs everything he possibly can in a very, very tight race against Donald Trump, his son facing these very serious legal allegations is something that just politically for him is so damaging, especially, Ellison, when you take into account that there was the real possibility that Hunter Biden was going to be able to plead guilty to a misdemeanor, face no jail time, and have all of his legal troubles behind him over the summer. When that plea arrangement fell apart, all bets were off.
Ryan Nobles on Capitol Hill. Thank you. The United States just vetoed a United Nations Security Council demand for a permanent ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. The permanent ceasefire was backed by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who suggested that the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is so bad right now, it threatens to upend the stability in the region and the entire world.
There is a high risk of the total collapse of the humanitarian support system in Gaza, which would have devastating consequences. The conditions for the effective delivery of humanitarian aid no longer exist.
Israeli troops have hit hundreds of targets throughout Gaza in the last 24 hours, according to the Israeli military, and it is pushing more and more Palestinian civilians to the southernmost part of the Gaza Strip. When the war began 2 months ago, Israeli forces focused their efforts on the ground and in the air on northern Gaza, saying Hamas militants were primarily operating in and around Gaza City, but they say the war has entered a new phase, and their focus is now southern Gaza. Stuart Ramsey with Sky News has more, and we want to warn you, the report contains graphic images.
An airstrike has just hit. They're injured everywhere. There's panic here. This man is calling for help. This is life in Khan Yunis. Off the main road, a house is on fire. Much of it has been destroyed. Dazed, covered in dust and clearly injured, the survivor is helped out of the rubble and a man lifts him onto his back and carries him away. There are children here as well. The rescuers bring this little girl to the edge of the smashed building and they lower her down. She's followed by another and then another little girl. The rescuers, neighbours and friends search through the building, shifting rubble, trying to find more survivors. Another is trapped under rubble. She can't move. Frantically, they try to get her out. Survivors say there were around 50 people staying here. Many of them have already been forced from their homes elsewhere in Gaza.
I'm a resident of Ben Salah. We got displaced and came to the house of Abu Faiz and Abu Salah. We came here to live in the safety of God. We saw nothing until a missile fell on us. I was under the rubble.
His wife and 2 daughters were just killed in this attack. 2 months after the Hamas attack on Israel, the Israeli Defense Forces operations now cover all of Gaza. Their latest pictures show soldiers in built-up areas and along the coast. But they haven't rescued any more hostages or taken out the Hamas leadership yet.
Well, there is growing pressure on Israel from the international community. The UN Secretary-General has invoked Article 99. He's calling for a meeting of the Security Council, and he's warning of a threat to peace. Well, Israel has reacted angrily. They've called for his resignation once again, and they say that he's reached a new moral low.
While calls for a ceasefire grow, countries like the UK still support Israel's campaign.
The best thing that could happen of all is the remaining hostages could be released Hamas could themselves say that they won't come and attack Israel. The thing would be over pretty quickly and reconstruction could start.
With no prospect of a ceasefire, these scenes of injured and dead will be repeated constantly. This little boy has just been told his father is dead. It's the dawning realization of his own loss that's so heartbreaking. And there will be many more like him as this war grinds on. Stuart Ramsey, Sky News, Israel.
Our thanks to Stuart Ramsey for that. A man suspected of firing shots outside of a synagogue in upstate New York on the first day of Hanukkah has been hit with federal charges. A spokesperson for the FBI says he is a 28-year-old named Mufed Al-Khadr. The Albany police chief says he fired 2 shots from a 12-gauge pump shotgun, after which he reportedly said, "Free Palestine." No one was hurt, but the incident is a stark reminder that a surge of anti-Semitism is not just something that is happening in the U.S., but it is affecting countries around the world. NBC News foreign correspondent Josh Letterman has more.
For centuries, the Hanukkah candles have been burning reminders about the triumph of religious freedom over fear, of light over darkness. As Jews around the world light the first candle, they stand in the shadow of a new set of fears, surging anti-Semitism and an alarming threat of terrorism.
All the lights were blinking red before 9/11. Apparently, obviously, all of us missed it. Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
FBI Director Chris Wray testifying the terror threat is higher than at any point since the war against ISIS a decade ago.
And by far and away, the biggest chunk of the tips and leads, which are coming in fast and constantly to us post-October 7th, the biggest chunk by far involve threats to the Jewish community.
Earlier this week, the Homeland Security Department issuing a guide to places of worship to protect themselves, with tips like trimming bushes where attackers could hide. And similar fears across Europe.
There is a huge risk of terrorist attacks in the European Union,
prompting the EU to devote more than $32 million to protecting places of worship. The French government urging extreme vigilance after a fatal terrorist attack over the weekend by a man who told police he was angry about the war. And London's Metropolitan Police telling NBC News they've made 75 arrests linked to the Israel-Hamas war, stemming from threats to both Jews and Muslims. While Jewish communities in the U.S. and Europe are deploying armed guards outside synagogues and Hanukkah celebrations.
These symbols of Hanukkah are supposed to be a beacon of faith and perseverance, but they can quickly become targets for people who might act out of hatred or prejudice.
But across the world, Jewish communities vowing they will not cower in the dark. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz lighting the first candle at the Brandenburg Gate in the heart of Berlin, vowing to protect Jewish citizens. In Kiev's Maidan Square, the site of the 2014 Revolution of Dignity, families eating sufganiyot, traditional Hanukkah pastries, decorated with the Ukrainian flag. While in Washington, thousands watching as Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff lit the national menorah steps from the White House.
Since October 7th, that horrible day, I have been speaking out publicly as much as I can on what I am calling and what we know to be a crisis of anti-Semitism.
And in London's Trafalgar Square, the head of the UK's Jewish Leadership Council says communities have no choice but to be vigilant, but not silent.
Hanukkah is a symbol of pride, of light, one of the most joyous festivals in the Jewish calendar, and we are asking people to be loud, proud and Jewish because we think that is the best antidote to the hate that we're seeing.
Josh Letterman, NBC News.
We've been tracking a set of storms that are making their way across the country this weekend. One of those storms already dumping loads of snow across the Rockies and Plains, and parts of Utah have already seen over 7 inches of snow. Tomorrow, things are expected to ramp up in the south with 9 million people at risk for severe weather, including tornadoes. And for us here on the East Coast, it's going to be a wet weekend. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is urging residents to prepare for heavy rain. Our NBC meteorologist Bill Cairns has more on what's going to happen as the storms pass and how they might impact your travel plans. Bill, good evening.
Well, good evening to you, Ellison, and it'd probably be easier for me to tell you what's not going to happen compared to what's going to happen this weekend. I mean, we got everything. We got a chance for tornadoes, hail, damaging wind gusts, coastal flooding, rainfall flooding, river flooding. I mean, heavy snow. I mean, the only thing we're missing is like an ice storm. So we have snow this evening. It's not a fun drive in areas of North Dakota. It's snowing in Denver, and if you're heading down towards Colorado Springs, you'll get a little bit of dusting of snow this evening, too. But tomorrow, the first dangerous portion of the storm will be during the late afternoon. It's warm. It's a little humid. We've got a strong cold front coming through, so it's no surprise that we're going to see this line of thunderstorms popping up from just east of Houston all the way through central Louisiana. Watch out around Alexandria to Monroe, just north of Jackson, Mississippi towards Tupelo, and then back up towards Nashville. Those are the areas of concern. Damaging wind with the strongest storms, maybe isolated tornado, and some of the strongest storms would also have some large hail. And for that reason, we have this slight risk, this area in yellow, about 9 million people included in that. And the storms may form earlier in the day right over the top of Little Rock. So we haven't ruled out you either. Then by the time we get to Sunday, this whole mess heads to the east coast. The red and the yellow show you the heavy downpours, and there is some cold air on the backside where you're going to get some snow in the Appalachians. Watch out in central PA and also western New York. And as far as the flooding potential goes, northern New England does have a snowpack, a decent snowpack too. So when they get really warm, heavy rain and warm temperatures, warm dew points too, they could see some flooding problems. 40 million people included, and it does include New York City and Philadelphia and Hartford too. So keep that in mind. That'll be Sunday evening for the heaviest rain. And the airports, you do not want to be at the airports if you can avoid it. Sunday afternoon and evening, mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. All of the New York airports, Hartford included, I can throw Albany on this too, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Richmond. All of the airports are going to have torrential rain and on and off really strong gusty winds. So not only will it be a bumpy flight, but I'm sure there's going to be delays and probably cancellations too. And this storm is going to linger through Sunday night into Monday morning. New York City won't be that bad Monday morning, but we're going to see very strong winds out on Long Island and all the way through Cape Cod and the islands, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket. Easily could see some gusts to 60, maybe even 70-mile-per-hour gusts. And the same for coastal areas here of Maine and New Hampshire. We could have some isolated power outages from these strong winds. And with this storm, it's not like a winter storm. I mean, it's going to be so warm. Saturday, we're going to be 63 in Cincinnati. This is very much like a spring setup instead of a storm that's heading towards Christmas. And that's unfortunately, for areas that do have snow right now, when you get temperatures this warm this weekend, a lot of it will be washed away. It will get back to normal as we go into next week. And I also don't want to leave our friends out of this in the Northwest. This is a brand new storm coming in on Saturday for you. This is going to be Eugene northwards, but it's going to pour during the day on Saturday. Our rivers have come down, but they'll go back up a little bit. The flooding will not be as bad as early as this week. And then finally on Sunday, it moves inland with just some scattered showers around Ellison. So it's a very busy and hopefully not too troubling of a weekend with all this wild weather.
Bill Cairns, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere because we are just getting started. You're going to want to check your fridge. A salmonella outbreak tied to cantaloupe has killed just over a handful of people. What you need to know about the recall. Plus, some good news for the economy. The jobs market looks like it's headed in the right direction. So will talk of a recession finally be squashed? And a huge medical breakthrough. New treatments were just approved today for sickle cell disease. We will explain how it works. That is all just ahead, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Former President Donald Trump is set to take the stand in New York on Monday as the final witness in his civil fraud trial. Trump was in court yesterday to maintain his innocence despite already being found liable for fraud. It will be a high-profile moment for the former president as he campaigns to regain the presidency next year. A 26-year-old woman is in custody for attempted arson after allegedly trying to burn down Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home. Two tourists visiting the Atlanta home reportedly noticed the woman pouring gasoline on the house. Then two off-duty New York officers stepped in, detaining the woman until local backup arrived. The board of the Wharton School for Business wants UPenn's president, Liz McGill, to resign. In a letter, the board accuses her of failing to condemn anti-Semitic rhetoric on campus. Earlier this week, McGill testified on Capitol Hill and sidestepped the question asking if a student calling for the genocide of Jews would violate UPenn's code of conduct. The son of North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, Ian, has been charged with manslaughter for his involvement in a police chase that killed a police officer. The pursuit resulted in a crash that killed Sheriff Deputy Paul Martin. Kramer appeared in court this morning where the judge set a $500,000 cash bond. And it sounds like the wildest dream, but Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is the first tour to gross over $1 billion. You heard that right, $1 billion. That is according to Pollstar. It was the #1 tour across the country and the globe. It's just the latest record for the superstar, but you may not be done. The Eras Tour is projected to hit $1 billion again next year, taking the tour's total to over $2 billion. The November jobs report is out, and it looks like the economy got a pretty big boost last month. The U.S. added just shy of 200,000 jobs, which was more than forecasters were expecting. And on top of that, the unemployment rate ticked down slightly to 3.7%. A lot of these jobs are workers returning from the picket lines. Auto workers, Hollywood writers, and actors, they are all back on the job. With us now is NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. So, Brian, the strikes, they are over. It seems like that's given this report a bit of a boost. Is that a fair read of things? And what were the other big areas for job creation?
Well, there was a boost from that, but there are underlying things that show this jobs market is really hot as well. So let me just walk you through, as you mentioned, just to rehash here, 199,000 jobs. That's how many were added in November. That's a faster pace than the 150,000 that we saw added in October. And by the way, I want to mention that 3.7% unemployment rate you were talking about. That is the 22nd consecutive month that we have seen the unemployment rate below 4%. By all means, a good thing. As you mentioned, in the job sectors, motor vehicles and parts, we did see a 30,000 job gain in that sector, a reversal of the UAW numbers that we saw in the month prior, where the strikes took a bite out of that particular industry. But take a look at this. Healthcare adding almost 77,000 jobs in the month. That's a faster pace than we had seen in the months prior. And leisure and hospitality, bars and restaurants adding 40,000. So again, these are the industries that, irrespective of the other union trends, have really contributed to this underlying strength here as well, which underscores just how strong this labor market is, even this many years out from the pandemic.
So, Brian, a lot of people know firsthand that wage growth very rarely seems to keep up with inflation. What did we learn about wages here?
Yeah, and that was the case for most of the post-pandemic period. But actually, as of the summer, we saw the picture start to reverse. So we get a picture on average hourly earnings growth from this report. And what we got this morning, in November of this year compared to November of last year, wages went up by 4%. That's a slower pace than the 4.1% we saw in the October to October period. But what's interesting is that this is actually above the pace of inflation. Things at the store and everywhere else are going up by 3.2% on a year-over-year basis. So that number is bigger than that. But again, as you mentioned, that was not the case for most of the post-pandemic period. In the middle of last year, inflation was something like 9%. Wage growth was well below that. So it was really eroding and taking a bite out of any earnings that you were making on a biweekly or monthly basis. So this story, certainly good. Although, again, this number is still not where Federal Reserve and other economists say it should be. Want to see that somewhere closer to 2%. So not yet mission accomplished.
I mean, throughout this year, Brian, there has been talk, whispers, concern of a recession. When you look at this jobs report, is there anything we can glean from it in terms of the big picture outlook for the economy?
On the labor market, it shows no recession. That's very clear because the unemployment rate at 3.7% is essentially hovering near over 50-year lows. And again, the 22nd consecutive month remaining below 4%. There are some economists that have said you would need to see a 1 percentage point increase in the unemployment rate to call it a recession, at least on one factor here. And again, 3.7%, you would have to get to almost 5% to call that a recession. So you're not seeing that here. But again, the story is inflation. That's what the Federal Reserve is going to be watching when they meet, by the way, next Wednesday. We'll have the full coverage of that.
All right. NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung, thank you as always. We appreciate it. If you have cantaloupe in your kitchen right now, you might want to throw it out. A salmonella outbreak tied to the tainted fruit has now killed at least 8 people between the U.S. and Canada. NBC's Ann Thompson joins us now with more.
Allison, health officials are worried about 2 things: the growing number of cases and the severity of the illnesses. Salmonella cases linked to cantaloupes doubled this past week. The CDC reporting 230 people have fallen ill. Almost half of them had to be hospitalized. In this country, 3 people have died. The FDA says the contaminated melons were sold under 2 brands, Malachita and Rudy. The voluntary recall targets whole and pre-cut cantaloupes. Federal officials say don't eat pre-cut cantaloupe if you don't know the brands from which the cantaloupe came. And if you have either the whole melons or the pre-cut cantaloupe in your refrigerator, throw them out or take them back to the store. Ellison?
Ann Thompson, thank you. Coming up, Keanu Reeves' California home was burglarized by multiple men, reportedly wearing ski masks. We have those scary details, but first you gotta see this. This is Mei Lee, the red panda eating some leaves at lunch at the Ross Park Zoo in Binghamton, New York. She's not letting a little snow get in the way of her meal. She's pretty adorable. We will be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. President Joe Biden will be in Los Angeles this weekend for a star-studded Hollywood fundraiser. He's scheduled to talk to a room full of supporters about a number of topics, but top of mind will be the Israel-Hamas war and LGBTQ plus rights. It will be hosted by designer Michael Smith and former U.S. ambassador to Spain, James Costos. Guests will include Steven Spielberg, Shonda Rhimes, with a performance reportedly by Lenny Kravitz. It appears actor Keanu Reeves had his Los Angeles home broken into this weekend. TMZ is reporting that it happened very early Wednesday morning, and it was carried out by suspects wearing ski masks. The LAPD tells NBC News that a number of suspects did indeed enter a home on the 9000 block of Thrasher Avenue, where Reeves does own a home, and made off with a gun and some jewelry. Officers say no one was home at the time and that an investigation is still ongoing. And what were you doing at 17 years old? Maybe a lot, but I bet it wasn't passing the bar exam. A California teenager, Peter Park, he's just built different. He took the exam in July and got the history-making results last month, passing the bar on his very first try. Park has since turned 18 and now works as a law clerk at a district attorney's office in Central California with aspirations of being a prosecutor. Tonight, we've learned the identity of the third victim in this week's campus shooting at UNLV. The Clark County coroner confirmed 69-year-old associate professor Naoko Takemaro died from multiple gunshot wounds. 64-year-old professor Jerry Chang and 39-year-old assistant professor Patricia Navarro were also killed. We're also hearing for the first time 911 calls from the day of the shooting. This might be disturbing, but we want you to take a listen.
How long ago did you hear the shots?
They're happening right now.
How many shots have you heard?
Like 5. I'm hiding under my desk. I closed my door. It's locked.
Have you heard anything else before or after?
I heard some screaming.
Police say the gunman, 67-year-old Anthony Polito, mailed letters to nearly 24 university personnel across the country before the attack. They also say that he had a list of names of faculty members, both from UNLV and also East Carolina University, who they believe he was targeting. And earlier today, President Biden added a stop to UNLV during his already planned trip to Las Vegas. According to the White House, he met with the school's president and students to express his condolences and later spoke about the epidemic of gun violence in this country.
Folks, we got to get smart. There have been over 600 mass shootings in America this year alone, plus daily acts of gun violence that don't even make the national news. This is not normal, and we can never let it become normal.
NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins me now. Dana, you know, we play things like the 911 call. We ask questions about the suspect, their background, their motive, because we're trying to understand how this all happened and what, if anything, can be done to prevent it in the future. Yeah. So with that in mind, I want to ask you, what do we know about this suspect's background? How is the investigation into a possible motive going?
Yeah, Ellison, we've learned that Polito has worked as a professor up and down the Southeast. He's even touted his membership in the high society IQ group Mensa. And investigators say he was prone to posting conspiracy theories on his own website. Investigators have not identified a clear motive into the shooting, but we've learned that he has unsuccessfully sought employment at UNLV in 2020 and that he was also facing financial troubles, including an eviction notice that was posted on his front door when they served a search warrant. Ellison?
Dana, we also know the identity now of all 3 victims. There's another person who was also shot that was hospitalized. What can you tell us about the people who were killed on this campus?
Yeah, Ellison, we just heard moments ago from some of their colleagues during a press conference at UNLV. And I want to read some of the things that we learned about the professors. So 69-year-old associate professor of Japanese studies, Naoko Takumaru, was a professional concert pianist who brought homemade chocolates during the holidays and was a cat lover supreme. Her colleague saying that although she was physically frail, she was lion-hearted. 64-year-old business professor Jerry Chang he deeply loved his students and UNLV so much that he decided to donate his body to research at the university. And they say his most profound impact was on junior faculty members that he would guide and support. We've also got 39-year-old assistant accounting professor Patricia Navarro. They say that she had a larger-than-life personality and a genuine kindness that made everyone feel like family. They say her most important work was at home with her husband and 4 children. Now, Ellison, that lone survivor has been identified as a 39-year-old who was visiting. We're told that person is in stable condition.
Dana, I know you have spent a lot of time speaking to students and people in the Las Vegas UNLV community. How are they doing? How are they processing what happened?
I think they are still trying to process it, just like you said. Even President Whitfield said that the emotions there are swinging like a pendulum. He says that they are planning to move forward with winter commencement. However, they have canceled finals for next week. He also praised the 2 detectives that stopped this shooting from moving forward. They have been identified as Detective Nathan Drum and Officer Damian Garcia. They have both been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation that is very customary. But the president said that these officers are heroes. And he said, quote, they kept the worst from becoming a bloodbath. So they are obviously sending their gratitude to these 2 officers as this community heals and tries to move forward.
NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin, thank you. In Michigan, Ethan Crumbley, the Oxford High School shooter, will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentence was handed down by a Michigan judge earlier today after gut-wrenching statements by survivors and families of the victims.
It has been 738 days of constant physical and mental pain. I can no longer sleep without having flashbacks of a bullet entering one side of my neck and exiting the other. Instead of speaking at her wedding, I spoke at her funeral.
Crumbley was 15 years old when he shot and killed 4 classmates and injured 7 others back in November 2021. Crumbley's parents are also facing criminal charges over the shooting. They are each charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. They are accused of buying their son a gun and ignoring his mental health needs. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins me now with more on this. Maggie, it was a very emotional day in court, especially hearing from the family of some of the victims themselves speaking out. What was the overall sentiment in the court?
I mean, Ellison, the overall sentiment was what we heard time and time again, the main message being that families, victims, loved ones all wanted this judge in this case to issue Michigan's harshest possible sentence to Ethan Crumbley, which in Michigan is life without parole. And not only did the judge do that, he did it several times over. We said he's going to spend life behind bars. He actually got 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 1 for the charge of terrorism causing death, and then 1 for each of the 4 victims killed in that 2021 massacre at Oxford High School. I mean, the emotion, as you said, was just peaking throughout the day. This was hours of really graphic testimony, emotional pleas from families. Just listen to some more of what we heard today.
To the waste that took my daughter's life, that name will never come out of my mouth. That life will cease to exist to me, and just like trash, it will be forgotten.
He took 4 kids' opportunities to grow into incredible young men and women, and he should never have the opportunity to see the light.
I want to point out we are playing sound from victims and from family members. The one person we're not playing sound from right now is Ethan Crumbley. himself, but he did speak in court today. Just before the judge handed down his sentence, Crumley stood up and told the judge that he knows he's a bad person who had done bad things, but that's not who he plans, he said, on being moving forward. Basically, he was asking the judge for leniency and eventually a chance at freedom. As you know, Ellison, the judge denied that, instead of heeding the calls of these families and these victims who just gave those excruciating testimonies today.
Maggie, we know the suspect, the defendant, the guilty shooter in this case, his parents are also facing criminal charges. Can you bring us up to speed on when they might actually go to trial? Where does that stand?
Essentially next month is when it's scheduled to start. As you know, these things are fluid. Any number of things can change that date, but it looks like next month as of now. And basically the backstory here is that you're right. James and Jennifer Crumley, the mother and father of Ethan Crumley, are each facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 1 for each victim killed. After prosecutors say, as you said in the intro, prosecutors say, bought their son a gun and ignored clear warning signs about his mental health. Now, it's important to note they have each pleaded not guilty. And by the way, they'll have separate trials. Also important to note, we reached out to their attorneys today, but the judge in that case has issued a gag order. So as expected, we did not hear back from their attorneys. And then one final note, neither James nor Jennifer Crumley were allowed to be in the courtroom today to watch their son get his life sentence. So that teenager went through that without his parents, and their criminal trial is next. Allison.
NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa, thank you. The U.S. has seen more mass shootings in 2023 than any year since 2006. That's according to new data from the Washington Post. Statistics like that are motivating people like Manuel Oliver to demand change. He lost his son Joaquin in the Parkland school shooting in 2018. This summer, Oliver and his wife gathered survivors of gun violence together and embarked on a national tour stopping in cities impacted by mass shootings. We joined them as they crisscrossed the country.
Manuel and Patricia Oliver spent their summer the way a lot of Americans do, taking a road trip.
We're going to Louisville, Kentucky.
But their ride and their route had a special meaning.
We purchased a school bus a couple of years ago, and we wanted to turn it into an activism mobilizing tool.
The Oliver son, Joaquin, was killed in the Parkland shooting in 2018, and since his death, they've dedicated their lives to fighting gun violence.
You always think it will never happen to me, and that is not a risk that we are willing to keep on taking. We said, okay, let's do something. Joaquin should be turning 23. What if we do a national tour? We can choose 23 cities, which was very easy, because if you choose cities that have been hit by gun violence, it's almost any city in the United States.
We rode along with the Olivers as they crisscrossed the country with fellow activists.
The American dream was based on a better future for your kids, and it was not like that. Our son was shot.
Bringing together members of the club they say nobody wants to be a member of.
I don't have anything to lose. I just have things to win and to earn. And that's saving other kids from going through the same tragedy that Joaquin went through.
About 10.5 years ago, I was sheltered away in the cubbies of my first grade classroom as I listened to the sound of my close friends being murdered just outside the walls.
If this was the shooting that should have changed things, which I agree, probably Joaquin will be here. So we haven't understand the lesson. The lesson from Sandy Hook did not teach us in Parkland, and we in Parkland did not teach the guys from Uvalde. And then between those 3 thousands. So we must be doing something wrong.
Are we being in other communities? Are they being really forgotten? Because it happened long time ago. For example, in Colorado, Aurora, Columbine. And you see the same thing, and you see yourself in them. 21 years later, that's like a picture of your future.
Here we are, Manuel and Patricia Oliver. We have a message from Joaquin.
I moved here thinking that my kids will have a better future. Yes, Joaquin had a great life here. Yeah! But the system failed. And now I found myself in this country that is a wonderful country, but needs to fix that problem, which is preventable, which is fixable. If a couple from Venezuela move here and we are the ones that need to start to make things change, that's fine. That's what we do.
Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
Our thanks to Maya for that. You can watch more of the Oliver's Tour to Stop Gun Violence on Stay Tuned's YouTube channel. If you've gone to the pharmacy recently and had to walk out empty-handed, you're not alone. This season, many Americans are having an increasingly difficult time finding their medications due to drug shortages. It's been happening for years, but it's getting worse. It's impacting everything from life-saving cancer treatments to ADHD medications. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has more.
Frustrations are growing nationwide over unfilled prescriptions. Widespread drug shortages are making it harder for many Americans to find their medications.
It's getting worse.
Misty Heeman lives in Minnesota and says it's like a full-time job to track down ADHD medication for her 3 sons.
Have you found any hacks, or is this just you deal on a day-by-day basis?
Day-by-day basis. Sometimes I won't give some of my kids meds like at 3 o'clock, so I know I have them for the school day if I have to.
Heeman says she's had to switch her kids to different prescriptions based on what's available. It's a daily struggle shared on social media.
I miss my old regimen, like just go to chemo every 2 weeks. Now it's like going to chemo every day.
With users posting about how they're unable to pick up prescriptions on time or forced to change their treatment schedules.
My 7-year-old does not have his ADHD medication because both of the pharmacies are out of it.
The issue ringing an alarm on Capitol Hill.
Drug shortages are a significant public health risk of the highest national priority.
This cancer doctor telling lawmakers the drug shortage could be a matter of life or death for some patients.
Many of my colleagues have been forced to make impossible choices, including to choose which patients will be prioritized to receive potentially curative therapy.
According to an American Cancer Society survey, 1 in 10 people being treated today say they've experienced drug shortage in the past year.
When we talk about a shortage of drugs for cancer treatment, that could actually be life or death, couldn't it?
We also don't know the long-term harms because we don't have the data about switching between cancer drugs. We probably won't know what will happen until a few years from now. You know, patients may forego a chance at a cure.
The problem is widespread. 1 in 3 U.S. hospitals are severely affected by drug shortages. And by early fall, there were 305 ongoing drug shortages nationwide, the most in a decade.
Why are there shortages of life-saving drugs in this country?
The main reason for most of these shortages is a quality problem at the manufacturing facilities. It is across all drug classes, but most of these are generic drugs.
Christine Romans, thank you for that report. Still to come, a gondola in Venice capsized after a group of tourists refused to stop taking selfies and sit down. That story and others trending around the world are next. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to hold on to his job. So today, he said that he would run for re-election in March. And considering there will likely be no real political opposition, Putin is all but assured of another 6-year term. And if he serves out the whole thing, he'll become Russia's longest-serving leader since Catherine the Great in the late 18th century. And speaking of Russia, the British government is accusing Russia's intelligence service of carrying out cyber attacks against lawmakers, journalists, and other British citizens. In a statement released yesterday, UK officials say the sustained attacks started back in 2015 and claim it was part of an unsuccessful attempt to, quote, interfere in the UK's political process. The president of Guyana has said he will do basically whatever it takes to defend his country from Venezuela, which is essentially threatening a land grab in order to get its hands on Guyana's oil. Venezuela considers the contested area its own. Guyana's president has said he's reached out to close partners to help protect the region in question. And a gondola capsized in a Venice canal after tourists refused to sit down and stop taking selfies. Local reports say a tourist group from China kept moving around in the gondola and taking selfies and ignoring the gondolier's orders to sit down, and instead continued standing up, taking photos, eventually tipping the entire boat over. The number of people allowed in a gondola was reduced from 6 to 5 back in 2020. Blaming that rule change on, quote, overweight tourists. As fighting in southern Gaza grows more intense, Israel is defending its treatment of a group of Palestinian prisoners. Arab and Muslim officials are calling out Israel after images of the men circulated online showing them stripped down to their underwear. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has more.
Israeli troops lined up more than 100 Palestinian men, many stripped to their underwear. Palestinians call it collective humiliation. The images sparked global outrage. Tonight, the Israeli military said Hamas fighters are dressing as civilians, and the men were detained in what it called Hamas strongholds in northern Gaza, and questioned about why they didn't escape to the south. But southern Gaza now is where Israel's offensive against Hamas is intensifying. Around the city of Khan Yunis. At the start of the war, our camera crew captured this moment of volunteers digging through rubble. They cheer and pull out a young girl, somehow alive, 14-year-old Miral Nijam. Her mother, grandmother, and 2 siblings were killed. Our crew found Miral again in black, along with her 9-year-old sister Mira, also rescued that day. They're back in the line of fire, sheltering in Khan Yunis. They've already been displaced 7 times. We keep everything we have ready here in case we need to move again, Miral says. Her sister's leg is broken. Miral's arm is in a sling. She says they're not going further south to Rafah for now because there's no food or place to stay there. The UN today said its humanitarian program is collapsing. Live on the Arabic language Al Jazeera network, a woman tells a reporter Hamas is hoarding aid meant for civilians. He takes the mic and says what little aid is coming in is being distributed. She wags her finger, saying Hamas fighters are taking it to their homes and they can shoot her if they want.
Richard Engel, thank you. Before we go, renewed hope for a cure. Today, regulators approved treatments for sickle cell disease that could end up helping so many people with the debilitating disorder. We'll explain how it works when we come back, so stay tuned. Today, the FDA made history by approving a cure for sickle cell disease. It will be the first treatment to use gene editing technology, offering new hope for those suffering with the debilitating blood disorder. NBC News' Rahema Ellis has more on the groundbreaking advancement.
The medical breakthrough focuses attention on a long-overlooked genetic disorder affecting mostly African Americans suffering from an excruciatingly painful disease, sickle cell. The treatment, called Casgevy, is the first FDA-approved medical use of the gene editing tool CRISPR, and the beginning of a new era in medicine using this technology. It modifies the DNA in a patient's own stem cells so they no longer produce sickle cells, which can cause health complications and can lead to an early death. Doctors call it transformative for nearly 100,000 people affected.
I think it really will change the landscape of science for sickle cell disease. I think it's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of patients.
It's already changed Lorraine Morning's life. The 29-year-old first-year law student at American University's Washington College of Law was one of 46 patients involved in the clinical trial. Diagnosed at birth with sickle cell, doctors told her mother she might not live beyond 11. For most of her life, she says, she suffered severe pain.
It's consistent, it's sharp, and it's crippling.
And that could be where, for example, on your body?
I've had it in my knees, my arm, anywhere there's a joint.
Now Lorraine runs and works out in the gym, things she always wanted to do but never could do before. It's changed your life.
It's changed, yeah.
You said it's given you life.
It's given me life, yeah.
Experts argue the cost puts it out of reach for many families. The price tag is $2.2 million, but it's likely insurance will cover at least some of it.
Our thanks to Rahima Ellis for that report. It is time now for your 60 seconds of joy. With only 17 days left until Christmas, it appears Santa has ditched his reindeer and kind of pimped his ride. Adriana Loya with our local affiliate in Arizona has this story.
It's not a sight you see often, but it kind of makes sense this time of the year.
Merry Christmas!
Santa Claus spreading joy, cruising around Phoenix streets in a decked-out sleigh. Since he's a little far away from the North Pole, he's parking this sleigh at his friend's Travis Apple's house. It was here where his elves helped him build the special ride.
We had to come up with something I could drive around town.
If you notice, this sleigh is not in the sky, but on wheels. Because
you can't have reindeer in Arizona unless you have a zoo license. So I decided, well, they could use the brake anyway. I'm used to grabbing the reins and pulling back and forth. And
Santa had to learn to drive all over again.
I started pulling on it. They said, no, you got to turn it. I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot.
I'm sure this is much better weather than the North Pole.
Oh, this is great.
Santa enjoying our desert temperatures as he gets ready for the holiday rush.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Why do this, Santa Claus?
Because it is a lot of fun to make kids happy and actually everyone happy. Share the happiness, and you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I will be seeing you very soon.
Thanks to Adriana Loya for that report. That does it for us tonight. I am Ellison Barber. We will see you on Monday, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.